Alright, so this is a Nove Education podcast.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with another episode for you today. It is Tuesday afternoon, October the 17th, and I hope everybody is doing all right. Mind you, I had a recording right now, but technical difficulties, and lost most of it, but whatever, dog. Whatever, dog. There's always technical difficulties. There's always some bullshit that's going on. It's all good. It's all good. But I had a 4-day weekend. Yesterday, we went to go see the Cowboys-Chargers game. Took my girl to go see the Cowboys for the first time. And they got that dub with that interception. Man, that shit was crazy. It was bad. It was cool to see, my girl in that environment, being with her cowboy people, all you crazy motherfuckers. And I was only hoping that there was no fights around us or that nobody wanted to get in a fight with us. I ain't trying to be in all that. Too old for all that, bro. Too old for all that bullshit. But in the end, yeah, Cowboys did win. It was fun. It was cool, though. It was very cool. I sported that Saints shit, baby. I don't give a fuck. I sported my Saints shit. I don't give a fuck. Actually, I got more props with my Saints shit than she did with her Cowboy shit, so go figure. But yeah, anyways, we'll get into a bunch of shit. This week, we have the highly anticipated, very, very, very excited for this pay-per-view event, UFC 294 in Yas Island this Saturday evening, I believe. I hope it's this Saturday evening. We have the lightweight king going up against, yet again, the pound-for-pound number 2 featherweight king, Alexander the Great Volkanovski. And then in that co-main event, where Kamaru Usman as well stepped in, 10 days notice, versus the boogeyman of the UFC right now, Khamzat Chimaev, now at middleweight. Both of these fighters now at middleweight. And this is a card, these two fights is going to be tough to call. Very, very tough to call. Excuse me. And I think I'm going to have to talk myself through it. I kind of talked myself through it in the past recording, and now I'm just like thinking, damn, man, maybe the everything shut off just for be like, hey, you know what? Maybe you want to talk about that again. So maybe that's why. But for sure, on Saturday, if you want to know who I really got, ask me on Saturday, because that's when I have my real decision, my true decision. And I think that what is really going to happen. UFC, I've been up and down, with right now. Boxing, I've been straight. I believe I'm undefeated this season this year in boxing. And then in my work pick league for the NFL, it hasn't been looking too good, but we still standing. But let me know. Obviously, the first fight between Makhachev and Volkanovski was one of the best fights probably to watch as of recent note. If you have somebody, a friend, a coworker who wants to get into the UFC, but they don't really know, should I watch this, whatever, show them that fight first, because that is top-notch fighting, mixed martial arts at the top of its game, bro. Pound-for-pound game. So, obviously, a lot of people, too, still think that Volkanovski won that fight. I don't. I think Islam squeaked by, but I don't agree with the unanimous decision. But still, it made for a great story, and we knew we were going to get the rematch eventually. I just thought that the rematch was going to come maybe late next year, because Volkanovski is still scheduled to fight Ilia Topuria in January, so that's going to be a crazy one. But on a 10 days notice, Islam is now going to fight Volkanovski. Obviously, that handicap is in there, but if there's anybody that can do it, anybody that can make the weight and still feel comfortable at that fight, at that 155 weight class, I think it's Volkanovski in his camp. I think that they also know what it's like to have short notice fights. Maybe not as big as this. Maybe it's not as big as 10-day Yas Island lightweight championship fight decision. But if anybody can handle it, I do think it's Volkanovski. You're going to see a lot of, questions from the last fight was, how was Islam going to strike against Volkanovski? And I thought Islam striked against Volk pretty good. And on the Volkanovski side, it was, how was Alexander going to handle Islam's takedown? And I thought his takedown defense was great. You know what I'm saying? Are we going to expect a little bit more of that on this fight? I think you can expect similar with Islam. Volkanovski, I think it's going to be more of a reaction fight for him. It's going to be very accurate, very precise, and very dangerous straight from the fucking beginning. Not to say that he's not always dangerous, but you could tell in that last fight, they were both being strategical. And I think Islam, it will be strategical this fight. I just think Volkanovski on this fight is more like a dog with his back against the wall, bro. I think that killer instinct is going to be locked and loaded because the handicap is in there. That 10-day notice thing is in there. And I think the biggest thing is if Islam drags him to deep waters to say late 5th round, will the stamina hold up for Volkanovski? I think it will, but we're going to have to see. So, yeah, I don't know who I got this fight. I think the thing that puts this over the edge for me is that Volkanovski is taking a 10-day notice to cut that weight, which shouldn't be too bad, but the flight and everything. And I think as just a little bit note, that last fight that they fought, Khabib was not in Islam's corner, and he will be in Islam's corner this fight. Say whatever you wanted about it, like, oh, you can't be in the fight with him. If you had Khabib in your corner, bro, in your training camp, leading the charge, yeah, bro, this is, if you had father's plan in your corner, yeah, bro, that makes a difference. So I'm leaning Islam. I think I'm talking myself through it. And we're going to have to see how that shit goes. But again, ask me again on Saturday. Who do you guys got this fight and how? I think this fight goes all the way again. If anything, it may be a TKO for Islam. But I just don't see Volkanovski submitting him, even though there's been talks about that. And I guess I can say, yeah, he will knock him out. Mind you, though, Islam's only loss is a knockout. And I believe it was a counter right, too. Which, dynamite's in fucking Volkanovski's hands, bro. But we'll see. Right now, I'm leaning Islam. Next fight, we have Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare, versus Khamzat Chimaev. On the UFC website, it has them number 1 and number 4 in the middleweight division. I think that might be right. I don't know. That might be right. I don't know. But I don't care about the ranks for this fight. Don't care about the weight class for this fight. Don't care about the time for this fight. It turned out that we were probably never going to get this match between these fighters, bro. You know, when Khamzat was supposed to destroy Nate Diaz, you know, obviously, you know the story. He didn't make weight. And, you know, he's now moved up. There was talks about maybe Kamaru moving up, but then he lost to Edwards. And then he's lost to Edwards again. Now he might be going for his fucking, you know, that welterweight strap yet again. There was that story. So it looked like we're probably never going to see this fight. Paulo Costa gets called out. You already have Edwards versus Covington. And then the next contender will be Bilal Muhammad. Usman sounds very interesting for that middleweight fight. Obviously, he will have less of a weight cut. And now, lo and behold, it is happening. And this is going to be, I think that besides this, this whole pay-per-view needs to be watched, bro. But I think this is the more interesting fight for Kamaru versus Khamzat. You know, Khamzat, the last time we really seen him get tested was against Gilbert Burns. Now, Gilbert Burns did rock him, and though they rocked him into a one of the greatest fights, you can also show them that fight, bro. You can also show them that fight if you want to see fucking bloody and shit. One of the greatest fights of all time. Kamaru Usman, I think, is a more powerful and accurate striker than Gilbert Burns is. Obviously, they fought. You guys remember that. So we're gonna have to see, you know, if Khamzat can handle that. Now, mind you, this is an immovable force meets an unstoppable object type of situation where you have Kamaru, who rarely gets taken down. I believe he only got taken down once, and that was against Leon Edwards, versus somebody whose takedown percentage is at an all-time fucking high. I don't even know, but I know that Khamzat's a fucking animal. We're going to see one of these things is going to have to break. More than likely, Khamzat's going to try to take him down the first few times. Kamaru's going to be able to defend there, and then they're going to be on the feet for the minute. Now, I don't really know if this is going to be a 5-rounder or a 3-rounder. If it is a 5-rounder, it definitely favors Kamaru a little bit more, because Kamaru's not only, he's been there, and he's able to stand and bang in there for 5 rounds. We've seen it, bro. We've seen it. We haven't really seen Khamzat fight in a 5-round fight. You know what I'm saying? I think the last time it was the 3 rounds and went the distance with Gilbert Burns, and that's about it. You know, if it's a 3-round fight, then that shit's up in the air. Only thing I think of is that if Kamaru striking is on point and makes Khamzat double question himself, then I think Kamaru could end up winning it unanimously. But if he does land one, we're going to have to find out. Because look, people would say, oh, Kamaru's out of it. He's older already. Look, bro. In all of mixed martial arts, boxing, kickboxing, whatever, they say the last thing to go is your power. And I still think that Kamaru has the speed and the accuracy and timing. And if he can get the timing down, bro, whew, he does have Trevor Whitman in that corner this time again. And homeboy who I believe is his grappling coach too. So seems like all the Avengers are here for this fight. So as I'm speaking about it, I lean Kamaru. Would love to see Khamzat win this fight, especially in Yas Island. Would love to see that. I just want the legend to keep growing, bro. I want it to be happening. I want it to be real, you know. But you know, Kamaru's one of those fighters who's just, you know, it's a big stepping stone though, because the winner of this fight gets Sean Strickland. That's a huge stepping stone. Not only for Khamzat, for fucking Kamaru too, dog. People forgot that Kamaru and Strickland fought before, you know. And to put another kink in that shit, Khamzat Chimaev and Strickland, they've trained together, bro. They're pretty cool. But Khamzat came out and said on the Chael Sonnen show and said, try to say that 5 times fast. He came out on Chael Sonnen's show and said that, yeah, brother, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We're trying to make money. So we'll see. But right now, I lean Kamaru. Again, ask me on Saturday for these 2 fights. Who do you guys got on these 2 fights? A couple of fights to look out for. This next one would be the light heavyweight bout with the number 2 light heavyweight and the number 7 light heavyweight in that division. We have Magomed Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. Very, very interesting fight. Really excited to see Ankalaev back in the octagon. Like truly, from the last time we seen him, felt like he might have fallen off. But let me explain. Johnny Walker coming into the UFC was forgot to press that on both those fucking fights. Johnny Walker coming into the UFC had been like this prodigy, somebody that, oh shit, that we know that we need to take account for. One of the biggest, baddest strikers, ends up falling on hard times. And I called it about 4 fights ago. I said, you know what? I think that Johnny Walker has found a groove. You know, he's found a cadence. He's found a kind of timing in his new style. He just looks different. The energy feels different. And he's been on a win streak, you know? And he looks good, bro. He looks very good. I think he is top 5 material, which is why he is fighting Ankalaev. Now, through this whole fucking division, there is nothing but strikers. You got Jamal Hill, Yuri Prohaska, Jan Blachowicz, Alex Pereira, Alexander Rakic, Johnny Walker, you know, Alex Smith, you know, and then the one person who is just the fucking rock inside that division who just won't fucking go away is Magomed Ankalaev, bro. He is what I like to call reality. You know, he's one of those fighters that just kind of punches you in the fucking mouth and says, are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Not only that, because he is a striker himself. He's a damn good striker. But he's probably, I think, the best wrestler in that division. And he is very good at it. I thought, you know, in their last fight, I still think he won the Jan Blachowicz fight. Even though Blachowicz took away his legs. To me, when with no legs, Ankalaev having no legs, I think that him coming back and winning, dominating the last 3 rounds, I think that should have made him win that fight. Now, they gave him the draw, so it didn't seem like a loss, but it felt like a loss because I thought that Ankalaev did win. So it's going to be a big test, huge test for Johnny Walker and a big test for Ankalaev to see, hey, can I kick it with these strikers? Can I hang around with these strikers? So though I love Johnny Walker, I do think that Ankalaev is going to win this fight. And I do think that Ankalaev is the true champion in this division. You know, I love Jamal Hill, Pereira, Blachowicz, Rakic, Prohaska, Johnny Walker, all of them. But I think Ankalaev is the real man there. And if you can get in Yaz Island, you can get Islam Makhachev, Khamzat Chimaev, and Magomed Ankalaev to win their fights in Yaz Island, it may be one of the biggest UFCs of all time. Maybe. You know, knowing their opponents. I know Johnny Walker is not a true household name, but he's definitely a fucking threat, bro. You put Johnny Walker up against, I don't want to say Pereira, but if you put him up against one of them, bro, like there's a chance that he could bang with them. You know, it's a slim chance that he could fucking out grapple Magomed Ankalaev. So we're going to have to see. So right now I'm taking Ankalaev, Kamaru Usman, and Islam Makhachev in this fight. Also in the prelims, we have to close out the prelims, we have a very highly anticipated fighter coming back from his knee surgery. I believe he got surgery, but he had a knee injury. And Muhammad Makayev. Makayev is ranked 11 right now. He is going against the number 10 flyweight in the division, which is Tim Elliott right now. I think that this is a good fight for Makayev to come back from, because not only is it's not necessarily a top 5 fighter, which I think Ankalaev is a top 5 fighter in that division, but it's someone who's also not gonna fucking back down and he's not just gonna get beat easy. You know what I'm saying? So it's a test for Ankalaev, but it's a good test for him, you know, to see where he's at. If he wins, I do think now he can put him in contender type of fights, but you know, the way the UFC has been moving with him, especially after that injury, I think he's probably going to move a little bit slower, but we'll see how that happens depending on how he wins. But he said that he does want him to be the youngest champion to get a belt. And my boy, Victor Guru, has been calling that from the past. So I think it may be on hold. But nonetheless, Muhammad Makayev is someone you should definitely put on your radar if you are an MMA fan, bro. So yeah, this card is going to be fucking badass. Obviously better, I think now. I mean, props to Volkanovski and Kamaru Usman for taking these fights on short notice, right? Obviously, it sucks to not have a full training camp, but I think in fights like this and times like this, and you know, when it's just like you're a different type of animal, you're a different type of dog, I think that it is the right decision for both Volkanovski and Kamaru Usman to do. So, no offense to Charles Oliveira, no offense to Paulo Costa. I just think that, you know, these are much better fights. You know, Oliveira, I didn't really need to see the rematch. You know, we knew what happened, bro. The rematch with Volkanovski is way more interesting than the Oliveira rematch to me. You know, there's a lot of people who are Oliveira fans. I get it. I get it, but we don't need to see that again. You know, we need to see Volkanovski again. And as far as Khamzat versus Costa, I knew that Khamzat was just going to run through him. And people were saying like, oh, you remember that, you know, Paulo Costa, you know, when he was coming up, bro, the eraser. You know, no, bro. Once I seen him fight Luke Rockhold, I was like, there's no way Khamzat is losing. I don't care if it's going to be his first fight in middleweight. But now you have Khamzat Chimaev's first fight in the middleweight division is someone who was in your past division, and Kamaru Usman, who people thought you guys should have fought already. What a great fucking fight. Let me get some water before I start, you know, all over the place. But also this past weekend, I think it's time for me to get into it, bro.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Look, bro, look. It sucked. It sucked losing to Notre Dame. But
because a vision softly creeping.
The lining in between was that our defense did play a good game. Our defense played a great game, and I don't give a fuck. I'm back. I don't care, bro. I'm back. Our defense did play a great game. It was our offense that gave Notre Dame the victory. You know, 4 turnovers on 4 scores, 3 interceptions on 3 scores. That's not a good look for the Heisman. That's not a good look for one of the best offenses in the nation. And now, look, bro, we got the Utah Utes coming back this Saturday at the Coliseum. There's much to be won on this fight. Now, not only to win in the Pac-12 division, not only to get us back on our feet to maybe make a playoff run, but to get that revenge from last year. Obviously, we knew last year Utah beat us, in the season. They beat us, and I thought they were the better team that night. They beat us, and it was a big upset, but, at the end of the day, a loss is a loss. And then in the Pac-12 championship, what looked like we were going to start running all over Utah, Caleb Williams gets hurt, and then, the rest of the story, For the whole time, the whole story narrative of SC this season has been, and the offseason has been, hey, is SC's defense going to get better? And though last week's game doesn't tell the true story, I do think that SC's defense looked much better against Notre Dame than other teams. I think the defense stood tall and a lot of good, times. It's just the offense didn't come through. And now, Notre Dame is not a killer on offense either. They're not an offensive juggernaut, but, there was a lot of turnover. So that don't look at the score and tell the story that, SC's defense sucks. SC's defense, they played really good. It's just on the offensive side, the coaching side, the staff side, that's what I blame. I don't blame the student athletes. I don't blame the skills. I don't blame, everything else. I blame the schemes and the coaching and the play calling on that game. And I've been, how many times can you spread them out and run a RPO before you stop running it? How many times is it not going to work that you're just going to be like, hey, this is not working. Let's go back to the drawing board and let's do it again. Let's run something else. But no. People were calling there's a lot of haters online. People were calling Lincoln Riley a phony. I don't know if I would say a phony because he does put together great offenses and good teams. It's just in times like this, when it's not working, I think he's a stubborn coach. A stubborn coach where if it's not working, he can make it work. He can make it work. No, if it's not working, you got to switch it up. And the problem with that offense is, I said it from the beginning, although we have the studs, although we have the great players, great recruits, all that shit, you got to start putting drives together. You got to start piecing drives together instead of always depending on the big plays. Yes, the big plays are there, but I would need to see more consistency as far as the drives. I need long drives. I don't need big plays. Are cool. They're fun. They get your points. But to go out and win a game, you need to start piecing these fucking drives together. And I have not seen that all season, pretty much. It seems like Riley's just depending on the offense and Caleb to do enough, and boom, that's it. And Caleb is off night. It was a bad night for him. And it was a bad couple nights, bad back-to-back games for him. I can't blame him because of his, his talent, but the strategy of the game going in has not changed. And you have to change your offensive scheme, especially on offense, because teams are different. And if teams see, hey, they're just running the same fucking RPOs, they're just flipping it, they're just motioning, they're just screen audibling. Hey, let's game plan for this. And they did. And they fucking did. I can't even blame the defense's game. So it's tough. But hey, back in the Coliseum this Saturday, we do have the Utah Utes. We want that fucking win. I wish I can go to that game, but unfortunately I cannot. I will be hosting a UFC on my pad with a couple of friends. So it's I wish I can go to that game though. I want to see a bounce back, and I need to see some more differences. If Riley can let go of that ego and let the plays run, let the game unfold in front of him. Don't let him try to be this is gonna work. This is gonna surprise him. No surprises no more. No more. Let's just be the team that we're supposed to be, which is a smash mouth football team with great offensive skill players. That's all I asked for, bro. That's all I asked for. So we'll see if we can get that. Hopefully we do. And hopefully it is a good game, man. I don't like the narrative of SC is just a a big ass offensive juggernaut and they blow out other teams. No, let's struggle. Now that we got the L, look, I took it hard. Whatever, bro. Whatever. We back in it. And, we got Murderer's Row. This was the first game back. This is the first game of our Murderer's Row, and we lost. We failed. Truly. But the good thing to take out from this game was that our defense looked good. Offense didn't. So let's get it together, Riley. I think we can against the Utes. You got motivation and you got home field advantage. Let's fucking get it. Because if you don't, brotherfucker,
That's right. Who do you think you are?
I'm going to have to start calling for Ed Ogeron, bro. I'm going to start calling for Coach O, bro. We need Coach O. We need Coach O because we love football. He's a Trojan at heart and we miss him, bro. That's what we need. We need Coach O and we need. People are saying give Reggie Bush his Heisman back. Whatever. Keep that bullshit. We know he's the Heisman. Reggie Bush for athletic director, bro. I called it.
That's right.
I called it. I don't give a fuck what you want to say.
Who do you think you are? I am. Get it right.
But also we had in the Pac-12 Washington versus Oregon. That game was bad as hell, bro. Bad as hell. This obviously puts Michael Penix Jr. into the lead as far as the Heisman running. And, he deserves it. He played good. He came back. But let's not forget. He did have to come back. And even though he did have that clutch touchdown drive, Oregon came back and ended up, they were down in the game and they came back and went ahead. And the announcers were saying, when Washington scored, the announcers were saying, hey, it might be too fast. Might have scored too fast, gave Bo Nix too much time. And if it was a back and forth game, then I would agree. But Washington had not been able to score, I believe, like a full quarter before that, bro. And when it's there and you're in a game like that, and it's not necessarily a shootout, it's a battle, I think you got to take what you can get. Now, Michael Penix Jr. threw a dot to his receiver. I forget the name. He threw an absolute fucking dot. And I could say from watching that game, from front to back, dude looks the most NFL ready right now. I've said before that I don't think Caleb, he's the most raw player with the most raw talent right now. But I don't think he's NFL ready. Bo Nix should be the one who's the most NFL ready because, he's been in the NCAA for about 7-8 years. But I think Michael Penix Jr. is the most NFL ready and probably will win the Heisman for what he's doing. Not because, yes, because of that game winning throw, but because of the poise he had through the whole game, through the whole mistakes. And not to mention, I like to see a lefty quarterback, bro. I love seeing a lefty quarterback throw the ball. I think it just looks dope. But, good ass game. Oregon still, I think, is going to be in the running. I believe they dropped it 10. So we're going to have to see how that is. But the Pac-12 is booming right now. Although I would have loved to see the Pac-12, love to see SC leave the Pac-12 with a chip. But hey, bro, we could turn things around. And we do play Washington and we do play Oregon. So let's, the season's not over. Pac-12 season is not over. Let's let the playoff standings, let's let those chips fall where they may. Now, let's just focus on winning this Pac-12, bro. We still undefeated in the Pac-12. We haven't lost in the Pac-12 yet this season. And let's get that shit going with Utah this week. But
let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Also, we had NFL weekend this past weekend, week 6. A lot of fucking injuries on the fantasy side, bro. A lot of injuries on the fantasy side. I wanted to say at the beginning of the show that this was, hasn't been really good for fantasy for me, but I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's been pretty good. It's been pretty good for me. Except for all but for one league, my boy Julian's league. Other than that, it's been pretty good. You know what I'm saying? But the only reason why it feels bad this week is because of a lot of injuries, dude. So my advice, if you're a fantasy manager, go after the players you need to go after as far as right now, whether you buy them high or low, because once you get your player that you want, you're going to feel better. And 2, then you can start focusing on picking up handicaps, picking up people's, there's a lot of running backs who have gotten hurt this week. And there's a lot of running backs in the waivers who are going to be on bye. So if you pick up the right guy, I think, you could probably turn your season around. If you're, 1-5 right now, or 2-4, or 3-3, I think that you can turn that season around with just like the right trade, the right pickups. And you know, if you go down, you take the loss, whatever. At least you did as much as what you can. You know, there's a lot of moves, a lot of tricks that I like to do to, you know, get an upset victory. You know what I'm saying? Because you can do that. There is strategy in the game. Like, for example, let's go to the NFL. For one of the games, so I was looking at the Colts versus Jaguars, thinking like this was a crazy game. Yeah, you have on the Jag side, you had Travis Etienne, you know, balling the fuck out, Calvin Ridley, Trevor Lawrence getting hurt, whatever. And on the opposite side, on the Colts side, although you have Richardson, let's say you had Richardson, and now you got to go for the, for the quarterback hunt on the waivers. That sucks. But on the flip side, what it does for the Colts, it makes other players fantasy relevant. Gardner Minshew is not the best fantasy player, but he makes his players more fantasy relevant because Richardson can run. He can open up the play with his legs. I think Minshew is more of a targeted, he's targeting certain players, Pittman, Downs become very interesting in PPRs. I would look for something like that, strategies like that. When you look deeper, when you look beyond the true NFL, I think that could help you with your leagues. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how it goes. And yeah, man, fuck the fucking Saints lost this past week. It's just bullshit. I don't want to really say it, but I just want to kind of ease into it. It's Derek Carr. It's Derek Carr, bro. We thought we could change him, but you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. You cannot turn a hoe into a housewife. I don't know what it is, bro. Like I said before, though, it is business decision. Those are business decision, professional decisions that are being made. Safe decisions as far as like picking up Derek Carr. He's the second best quarterback behind Aaron Rodgers, who was going to be a free agent. You know what I'm saying? And Rodgers was already committed to the fucking Jets. And, it's a safe decision. Let's go with the Derek Carr. And because we need a quarterback, we need a quarterback, but what Derek Carr doesn't give you is that element of surprise. It doesn't give you that playmaking stretchability. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't give you that. And when he's having an off day, it's off as fuck. And I could hear it. I could hear the Raider fans just fucking laughing at I told you so. You thought you could change him. We thought we could change him, but I don't know necessarily if it's time to park the car. It's just we can't score. The stats are there. Everything is there. The numbers are there. Moving down the field is there. The players, the studs, the defense, they're all there. We just can't punch it in the red zone. We got to be one of the worst red zone offenses in the NFL right now. So, yeah, losing to the Texans sucked. But Texans, like I said last week, they are a pretty good defense. Luckily, though, we are in the NFC South. So there still is always a chance for the other teams to fuck up and us to make a wild card run. So we're going to see how it is. Of course, you got two of the big upsets. You have the Jets. My cousin, Gato de la Ghetto, his Jets defeat the now not undefeated Philadelphia Eagles, which was a crazy game, bro. Defense, this is why it is important to have a good defense. This is why it is important to have a good defense, because defenses can keep you in the game and win you a game. The Eagles, they looked good. They just didn't look better than the Jets defense. So that's all I got to say about that. And on the other side, same thing. When you had the Cleveland Browns defeating the San Francisco 49ers in Cleveland, it was a bit rainy, I guess. Deshaun Watson was out. It's all like, oh, fucking the Niners are going to run all over them. That's not what happened. Yeah, they did have a good game, but Cleveland's defense kept them in the game and kept them in the game enough to keep them winning. Now, there's going to be questions about Brock Purdy coming out. I think Brock Purdy now is a go-for target in your fantasy league. Let's say you had Richardson. Let's say you had Stroud. Let's say you had Trevor Lawrence. Perfect example. I think Brock Purdy on Monday night versus Minnesota is a fucking... You can go low for the value, and now you will have let's say you're not studded, but you'll get points in that quarterback slot. It will be relevant now. So, take with that what you will, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, last night the Cowboys won. Dak looked good. Keenan Allen looked like a fucking monster. Probably going to be a league winner for me if he could stay healthy. Please, God. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, I will catch you guys later. Thank you for tuning in. Probably gonna be talking about the UFC again on maybe Thursday or Friday morning. Just we could be fresh off of the press conferences and the pre-weigh-ins and shit like that. Weigh-ins will probably be Friday night, so Friday morning. So we'll see how that goes, bro. But yeah, let me know who you guys got this weekend. I'm gonna go over it. I'm pretty sure we'll get back into it. But if not, hit me up on Saturday and I'll tell you who I really got. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, catch you guys later. Peace.
All right, so this is a Nove Education podcast.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping. And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone. Neath the halo of a street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people